What's going on, guys? It's Gray here. Welcome back to another stream. And in today's stream, we are going to be going over kind of what we do as a business. And I say we, I'm joined with Zayden today. What's up, man?
Hi.
Yeah, we run a micro market and vending machine, but a little less now. We're moving away from the vending machine side, but we run a micro market and vending machine business where we own and operate and manage the machines. And I kind of want to talk about in today's stream what all that entails, because I know a lot on this channel is more, concepts and philosophies and things like that on business and kind of how we're applying it. But for the most part, I tend not to talk about what it is we do. And I want to get kind of an overall picture. And then, of course, I'll leave this live stream up as a VOD. So y'all can go back and see it. But yeah, so I got Zayden here today. So if y'all have any questions or anything, we can harass him for his opinion and see what he thinks. But we're going to take a second, let everything load up, make sure everything's going smooth on the stream side, and then we'll get right into it. So let me see here. Zayden, how do you feel about our business? Do you feel like we are running a good company, a moral company, if you will?
Good company, yes. Moral company,
Bruh. Bruh.
besides all the child labor, I think.
Okay, we
we're doing
can't.
just
This
fine.
is a VOD, man. We can't
And?
joke about this.
And when we come back to this in like what, 10 years after we've made our money, what are they gonna do?
Dog. Here, hold on. I'm gonna private call you real quick, okay? I have so many questions. All right, have at it, Lauren. What questions do you have? Drop them in the chat. That's hilarious. Yeah. So we got a few things we're gonna go through today and talk about, both from a business side and then also what we're working on today. Because as I said, this is kind of a working stream. But let me see here. I really need to charge my phone before I do these.
You do.
And also, guys, if you are just tuning in, I would appreciate y'all leave a like and then subscribe if y'all are new. We're trying to get to 500 right now. That's our main goal. If you saw, I just released a video and we were talking about that at the end, just trying to get to that 500. Let's see. I'm gonna be doing. I think, mind the fact that I'll probably have a kid. I probably will be doing a lot
Mind
more
the fact.
YouTube. Yeah, I will probably be doing a lot more YouTube stuff, just trying to get building all this, because this is so fun. I love this kind of stuff. Y'all like my apple juice? I have a glass of apple juice just right next to me. It's pretty great. How does one obtain a micro market? That's a great question. I'll get to that in 2 seconds.
If only it wasn't like AI scripted. Anyway,
So
so I understand that we're doing a VOD right now, and this is gonna be really funny again in 10 years when, like, we have a.
please
bunch
don't
of
say
money.
anything that I wouldn't want. Like,
But
please be nice. I want this to be monetized one
no,
day.
exactly. But also looking at the chat here, it's just your wife and then you and me.
It's
So,
been
one day
five.
there'll actually
It's
be
been
people
4
in here,
minutes.
but let's
It's
wait for them to flood in.
Yeah, they're gonna
Humble
flood in.
beginnings. Humble beginnings.
Jeez, I hate you. I
I'm
hate you
just
so much.
being honest.
You're being so honest. Here, you know what? I'll make it better. I'm gonna send the stream to my mom.
Bro,
I'm gonna make it so much better.
I'm finna act
There you
up.
go. No, man. Please don't. Wait. Wait. Wait,
Send
no.
it to the cat.
That's funny.
Gotta get as many viewers as possible. Get up that watch time.
Dog. That's crazy.
I sound like a child on your stream. It's really bad.
Well, you are. That's the thing.
I know.
There we go. Okay, so now I can see it. All right, so yeah, we'll hop right into this now. I'll start making the actual content here. So who do I recommend buying a micro market from? Okay, so with these AI prompts, thank you, Lauren. I'm going to. You can hear her in the background laughing at this.
I think it's funny that you think it's AI. This is just off the knock.
off the not.
I
No,
don't
I
know what
just
the
mean like it's funny because Zayden has a point. Lauren's the one talking in the chat, and then Zayden's the
literally
one
scripted.
commentate. I mean, some other people might join.
Hey
Like
Lauren, text me my answers real quick. That's what
last stream we had like I don't know 20 different people join. They were all Lauren's account. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, so
Me and my
I
iPad
wanted
was
to
60 people.
start. There was a point to this stream. I did want to start who we are and what the business is, and so I'll go from my point of view, and then Zayden can make up his point of view. Um, so yeah, who we are. Zayden and I own. We split ownership in a micromarket and vending machine business here in East Texas,
Technically.
and the business is micromarket and vending machine solutions. So all that means is we find the machines, we buy them, we install them, we fill them, we stock them, we do the maintenance on them, and we make the money off of it. So we buy products at a low price, we resell them at a higher price, and we bridge the gap between the two. And we're focusing now on specifically micromarkets within CrossFit gyms. We'll move out into other gyms as time goes on, but for right now we're focusing on CrossFit gyms. And so what that means basically is we started in the vending world where you had snack machines. My first machine before Zayden, my first vending machine was a snack machine that we put in my old school. And what's cool is it's still there, but it's kind of just a legacy machine. We'll get into some figures here in a little bit on revenue and that kind of stuff. But you can see me in the mirror? What? What are you saying?
You don't have a mirror on the stream.
You can see me in the vanity mirror.
Oh, if I move my head? That's funny. Yeah, so I don't remember what I was saying. Yeah. So with that, we have kind of a legacy machine at this point where the snack machine only makes like a tenth of what the other machines are making a month. And so we've kind of obviously we will move away from the lower producing machines and we're moving more into the higher income machines. And what that means for us is micromarkets just typically make more. And as I said, we'll get into the figures, but we had a couple snack machines. I think we had, what do we have? 2 drink machines? 1? Do we only ever have the 1?
What do you
No,
mean?
we bought 2, but then we sold 1 to that one guy in White House, and then we gave the other one to Matt, if I remember right.
You say we.
You were there for both those
I wasn't
things.
here for the first one. I was
Yeah,
here
you
for
were.
The one that we sold to Alliance.
Or was it Keaton? Maybe Keaton was the one that helped me. I guess it was Keaton.
Yeah. Discount. I'm
Bro.
Discount version of me.
That's wild.
Doesn't have all the spunk and personality.
Dog. That's crazy. But yeah, so we started doing that, and we just kind of realized I at one point got a location in yet another school, but this one was a co-op, and they wanted some fresh food and lunches and things like that. And I thought, why not spend a few thousand, drop it on this micromarket? I think in total I spent almost $4,000 to $5,000. And I bought this micromarket, and it completely flopped. It was so bad. We couldn't get the credit card reader to work. They provisioned it to some guy in Spain.
Well, technically you did.
No one wanted anything like from the machine. Everything we put in there, they only wanted like Go-Gurts and stuff. And then on top of that, the person
Also,
I
they
made
did
the
get
deal
everything
with,
catered.
yeah,
So.
and no one told me about that. And then on top of that, everything I put in the machine, I like had an agreement with the person that I like agreed that I would put the machine in for them. I had an agreement that I could put whatever I wanted. If there was complaints, because again, it is a school and teenagers are the people purchasing it. If we ever got complaints, I would consider it, but I technically had free reign of what I could put in the machine within legal reason. And they didn't abide by that. Immediately, the person that I made the agreement with at the school then left and said, I have nothing to do with this. And then the principal came to me and said, all right, so you're selling energy drinks, for example. You're selling energy drinks. I don't really like that. Can we get rid of that and bring in like juice and water? And I said, no one likes you. Um,
True.
and so I was like, no, energy drinks are one of the few things selling at the machine right now. And I asked, did any parents complain? And she couldn't give me one parent that complained about it. So I just, no, I'm not going to take the product. But that kind of created, I realized typically when I get a lot of pushback in a location, it's not worth my time. Zane and I have noticed, at this point, you can have critiques and criticisms and requests, but when they start stacking up, I don't have to I can just move the machine. I don't have to yes, you're our customers. We want to provide the best service that we can for you, and we take critiques, criticisms, and requests very seriously. But a good example is we put a snack machine. Did we do the drink machine as well, or did we never get there into motion?
We only ever did the one
Just a snack.
machine in motion.
Yeah. So there was a company who shall just have been named.
Yeah, literally put them on blast. Yeah.
Well, you can't Google that and find them, so it's fine. But yeah, we had put a snack machine in this company, and the company itself is fine. I'm covering myself right now. The company itself is fine, but as a whole, we just kind of figured out that when we put the machine in, we made the agreement. We're gonna choose the prices. You can help us choose the products if there's something y'all like and y'all want to request. But we have our bills. We have to charge a certain amount in order to cover the cost of everything. And we put them in, and on 3 days into having the machine, we started getting complaints about the pricing. And it wasn't, hey, why is the pricing this? I feel like it should be obvious. If you have a snack machine and I'm charging $2 for a candy bar, it's typically because I have to charge $2 for that candy bar. I feel like that would be obvious. But she goes, can you take it down to $1.65? And I was like, what? And she goes, well, if we go up to the convenience store up the road, that's what we can pay for them. And I'm like, no, the reason you don't have to go up to that convenience store and lose lost labor, time, and also gas is because you have the convenience of paying a measly 35-cent more to get the candy bar whenever you want. I feel like that should be obvious. And it was things like that. There was more than that, but that is one of the examples of immediately she wanted us out. So we kind of realized that we were playing in a small pond, so to speak. You would either need a lot of snack machines to justify the cost, or you need very high traffic areas, and you'd have to restock it very, very, very consistently. And I'm not in that game. I didn't want to be in that game because it's a lot more than we have access to at the moment. And so when we got it,
in here?
Yeah, go for it.
What it comes down to is that there is a secret cost in the business world, and it is the mental tax. Okay, and if I'm having to do business with you and mentally fight you all the time, it's not worth the money. So why would I work with you? Because I could be going to someone else. We have our CrossFit Chief Gym, which we'll talk about later, that we ended up putting our first micromarket in. And that one, the owner of that gym, not only is awesome, but he loves his machine, and he is repping it all the time. Whenever we put something new in, he's coming to us with requests or items that he saw online because he's in the CrossFit community. He is actively helping us and on fire about that machine. Why would I waste my time with someone who doesn't really like it or is always upset with the pricing or the products that are in it, when I could put in the same amount of effort that I would to argue with you to go find a customer like CrossFit Chief, where they are on fire for that machine, and it's one of our most profitable ones. It is the secret tax that nobody tells you about until you have to actually learn it in the business world. So
yeah, and I would add to that by saying part of having this business, and part of really any business where you're selling an actual physical product in a situation like this, car washes are a similar model. But let's say you write a book and you Like you have to work with the bookseller, like the store Barnes and Noble, for example, in order to sell your book. If you're fighting Barnes and Noble the whole time, then you're not actually communicating with your customer, and you don't know what your customer wants. You just know what Barnes and Noble wants. I don't know if that's a great example, but for me, what I noticed is like I won't dox him or anything, but our client at the CrossFit, I almost said his name, that's why I said that. But our
I know,
client
that's why I
at the
was trying to.
CrossFit
Yeah.
gym, our first one, our client there, he specifically, he'll come to us and he'll say, "We love these products. These are the products we're liking," and we can reflect that both in the sales from the customer and what he's saying. And he'll go to CrossFit events and he'll text me, "Hey, I see this one product is here. Never seen it before, but everyone is saying they're great. Maybe consider testing them out." And I don't have to fight with him. If there is a product that is absolutely important to him that he wants in there, there can be a conversation about price. But what I've noticed is I can't recall a time he and I talked price. I just can't remember a time where he said that's too expensive. You need to take the price down. All I remember is him saying, "I really enjoy this product. Thank you for getting this. We're gonna like this." And then I can see, does it sell or does it not? And majority of the time it does. Obviously, if he's the only one buying it, it's not going to be as much. But they've got pretty good taste. And instead of it being me and Zayden against the client at the location, it's me and Zayden and the client working for what we can provide best for our customers. And so we end up getting a good selection of products for them to enjoy. So here, let me see real quick. How do I report my own stream? I'm just kidding. I downloaded Instagram for this. Can you believe that? Zayden hates me, guys.
I was listening to the stream. My bad. Did you ask me a question? I apologize.
No, it's all right. I'm live.
Oh, okay. I was trying to find a volume for it where I can listen to it in the background, not trip myself up.
Oh, I got you. You should send it to your mom so she comes and sees me.
I will not do that.
Visit link. Let me make sure it works. Okay, so it does work. Wonderful. I'm gonna make sure that uploads. Cool. I mean, most of this is just gonna be played back as a VOD, but I wanna kind of see here.
I mean, when we're rich in the future, it'll get clipped
Exactly.
naturally. What is this?
But yeah,
Pink
so
lemonade.
to continue with all of this, yeah, so that's kind of the business we're in. And as I said, we've now migrated to just doing micro markets. We've sold off or given away most of our vending machines, or we're in the process of selling them. I think we have like three or four left, that we're waiting to sell. But we went ahead and bought another micro market, and now we're just doubling down on building these two up. One great thing about these micro markets, by the way, is when I got into this, I read a book about vending machines and how you only need like 10 or 12 to make a livable income. And I completely disagree with that statement now. Part of it is just because of the cost of everything. And the margins on a vending business have gotten thinner. They're not thin, but they're thinner. But what I've noticed is on a micro market business, they're a lot thicker, and you can make them a lot thicker. And we're practicing that, and we're going to work on that in today's stream as well. But practicing with that to see ways that you might not realize where you're spending money. You might not be tracking everything accurately. And part of it's, Zane and I call it a stupid tax. Part of it is literally just figuring out what are we spending, where is it going, how can we spend better and more consciously. And then it's investing in the future. So Zane and I have kind of come to an agreement that we're going to invest into this business a reasonable and healthy amount. For us, are you fine if I say the number on a monthly basis?
You can.
So we put in $300 split between our equity splits into the business on a monthly basis. And then if certain costs come up that we don't want the business to cover, but we want to personally cover, we just track what we put into the business. So, like, for example, taxes come up. Instead of taking the money out of the business, which we could, we instead we take whatever the bill is and we split it by our equity split, and then that's how we cover it. I want to get us to the point, hopefully by the end of the year. As I said, part of this is learning, but then part of this is just building the system and process. But I want to get to the point where by the end of the year, we're in a position where we can just, like, we don't have to put in for the business to sustain itself and then become more profitable. That has definitely been an interesting thing that Zane and I have been figuring out over this last year, is how do we become profitable in each of our locations to the point where we don't have to put in, but putting money in accelerates the growth. Because at the end of the day, the goal of this business, at least for me, is I want to get it to the point where it can be a part to full-time job to cover living, because it is a much just it's just a better, I feel like my lifestyle is better given the freedoms that owning a business like this could allow me and does allow me. It's just we don't take any money out. We don't take a payroll. And so if we can get the business to the point where we can have a payroll, it would be very good, I think, for everyone involved. And so we just need to get to that point. And so for right now, I think it's going to be around the same number. I think it's going to be around a dozen machines is where we're going to be at, where we can start seeing, you know, the business can sustain itself. We can sustain growth and also take a little piece out, is 10 to 12 machines. Because at that point, I would just need to see the debt, you know, spread on everything. But yeah, I'm kind of rambling now. But so revenue so far, I let me see what we're at for the year. It's not as high as I think some people think it was. I was having some conversations with just random people about the business over the past few weeks, and for some reason, maybe it's just because I have a business YouTube channel and a, you know, productivity and personal finance YouTube channel, but people think I have so much more money than I do. What's up, Grant? That was a terrible time for you to come in after I said that. I sound so arrogant. It's okay, though. Yeah, so revenue to date, we have done for the year, we have done $4,532 across everything for, you know, this first half of the year, give or take, I guess. Yeah. So it's keeping pace with last year. It is going up. And again, as I said, we just got a second micromarket. So I see probably a 30% increase by the end of the year based on historical rates. But yeah, I could see, you know, it possibly going higher than that. We did have some record-setting months. We had our first month in May where we hit over 1,000. We hit $1,069.83. And that's the highest month we've ever had. And then same thing for the micro market, which this split fascinated me. The micro market made $993.83. Well, the snack machine, because at the time we only had the two, the snack machine made the rest at $76. And this would have been at the very end of the school year. And it's just no comparison. I'll answer all these questions in 2 seconds. And so we'll break down a little bit more here in a minute, some of those costs and stuff like that. But we do have the goal, at least we're getting to the point where our goal is going to be $100,000 in revenue. We haven't really figured out a time frame on this yet, because I don't know how long this is going to take, because it seems like there's a lot of variables that keep changing. So we're taking it, you know, a couple things at a time. But for right now, we're in that low, very low. You know, we're just now hitting 10K. Last year, I think we made about $7,500 in revenue. And so we're just now getting to the point where 10,000 seems to make sense. And that's with 2 micro markets and a snack machine. As I said, we're trying to sell those vending machines so we can focus on the micro markets. So I see where, you know, as I said, if you have 2 micro markets and you're at a 10K revenue, get 10 of them, you should be at 100K revenue. We should very easily be able to, or wait, is my mathing on that?
Roughly.
If each one does 5,000, 10 would be 50,000. So we might need more than that. I will say the more you have, you're going to have the outliers. And I say that of like 20% of our machines right now make 80% of our revenue. And that has been true the whole time. It's skewed a little more towards like 90-10, but I definitely see a possibility where like 4 of our machines make 80% of our revenue and the rest just fill in the gaps. And I'm completely fine with that. Because it adds a sense of stability into the business, if that makes sense. You're not relying on, which was something we faced. All of our revenue was determined on how one micromarket did. And while we're very grateful for that micromarket, that is a very risky position to be in, because if you, like, what happens if they close? If that business closes, then what? We just have a machine and no money. Or if they close down for renovation, or if they have a mass group of clients leave, or if, they have power issues and they can't get, I don't know. There's so many different variables, but if your entire income is reluctant on one or even just a handful of locations, your business is in jeopardy because, if something happens to that business, you're going to feel it a lot more than if you have 10 or 20 machines spread out. And if something happens at one heavy hitter, you're going to feel it, but you're not going to be like having to run and get a part-time job real fast because you can't weather that change. So our goal is 100K. And again, we'll probably talk more over more of these streams and videos on an actual timeline for that. But Zayden, what do you think of the 100K goal? You're happy for money, right?
Personally, I have what they call a love of money.
Zayden.
The Bible calls it a lust for money.
Zayden.
But, to his own, am I right?
That's not going to age well. I'm sending that to the other side of your family.
It's not going to age well at all. But also, it's not true, so it's completely.
Why are you adding lore to our?
Because one of us needs to have.
When we're billionaires, we're gonna go on podcasts, and they're gonna dig this clip up.
They're gonna dig this clip up.
I want to take a minute.
I don't know if I'm gonna be a billionaire. Okay, I will.
We'll get you to 5 or 10. It's okay. We'll get you there.
$1 billion?
No, 5 or 10 million.
I don't know if I want.
I'll add a little, Salt Bay. I'll just sprinkle 5 or 10 million down. But I want to answer these questions. I'm just gonna speed through them because Lauren's gonna keep sending them, and I get scared. Because she said I have so many questions, and she's not even done yet.
I can't even say that on stream.
First one, how does one obtain a micromarket? You get a nail gun and you shoot yourself in both of the feet, and then you sign up for subscriptions you didn't know you had.
Pretty much.
And no, I'm just kidding. To obtain a micromarket, we use a company called 365, and they're the parent company to things like ADM, Par Level, Stockwell, and a host of other terrible softwares. The sad thing is they kind of have a monopoly on the industry. You can go to companies like Nyax, and you can buy micromarkets through them. But each company is going to have their issues because micromarkets are still growing, and there is a level of customization to it. So you if you're going to get into this business, have the expectation you're going to have to learn how to, you don't have to code, but you really do have to understand software and organization. You really have to know how to make a spreadsheet and really track everything. And that's something we're having to learn in live time is we're paying this stupid tax, which is also I want to do more streams talking about this, because I hope if some poor soul out there is trying to make a business like this and they find this YouTube channel, I hope they get some, little droplets of knowledge where they can go and hopefully it solves a problem in their business. But yeah, how to obtain a micromarket, you just go to a company like 365, you go to their sales team, you tell them what you're looking for. For us, we have a Pico Vision and a Pico Breeze. They actually don't manufacture the Pico Breeze anymore. But yeah, I will also say you need to have a budget of, if you have 10K, you could get an entire setup that is very high quality, very well put together. You have a little bit of money to pay somebody to help you set it up, and you also have enough money for product. I think 10K is probably a good start. As I said, I got one for lower. I got one around 5K, but they also don't manufacture that anymore. This new one, we're walking away spending about $10,000. So who do you recommend buying a micromarket from? As I said, 365. I would also consider, like, if you can buy a pre-existing route, if you have more capital to work with, uh, you're gonna need. I always say if you're getting into a business you don't know, find an expert in it that you can pay a percentage. Or if you're
Us. I
getting,
mean,
yeah, us. Or if you know what you're doing and you're getting into it, buy a route. It might be harder in smaller towns. Like in Tyler, we don't have very many routes for sale. I haven't seen any for sale in Tyler. I don't know if I've ever seen a micro market in the traditional sense in Tyler. I've seen commercial fridges with a little pay kiosk on the front that takes Cash App and cash, but I've never seen like a proper micro market here in Tyler. So there's just not many routes to purchase yet. I think in the next 10 to 15 years we'll see that. But for right now, who would I recommend buying a micro market from? Either buy it directly brand new, or if you can find a route for sale, make sure that you're buying, like, they actually generate the revenue that they make. But buy a pre-existing route, because I feel like you'll have a lot of options to actually, like, it's all of it's set up. It's basically plug and play at that point. Plug in your bank account and keep going. And then personally, I want to know what you find important to include in a vending contract.
hold on, I'm hijacking you real quick. On the planogram for
Uh-huh.
the Lindale gym, we have sweet coffee listed, and then we have sweet cream coffee listed under Jocko Mulk. Is one of those
That's not.
incorrect, or are they actually separate products?
Let me refresh real quick.
Talking with my teeth today.
Yes. One, I love these images you got and how they're squished.
I'll make
I
them
love
taller in a
that.
second.
Oh, okay.
The dimensions are off.
Let me tell you which one's right. I have the photo of the actual barcode if you give me 2 seconds. The Jocko Milk Sweet Cream Coffee is the correct one. Wait, no it's not. Wait. Okay, these UPC codes aren't correct.
Wonderful. Wonderful. How do they need to be correct?
Okay, I'm texting. I just texted you the 4 new products that it should have added. And you can see their barcodes. If you go back, just a reminder, Hardcore Part 2 will be posted tomorrow. I watched the first one. I loved it. I would say push the camera a little closer to the TV screen. Just as somebody who also recorded my TV screen at one point. But overall, that was very cool, Grant. I really like that.
Quite frankly, I think his Minecraft content was better than yours, but
Oh, I agree.
that is just a personal opinion.
Shut up. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you might have to go in and recreate that item on the ADM side and then send it to Stockwell, because I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, it looks like it didn't save correctly.
I love jumping between 4 different systems. Yeah, let me go do that now.
Where was I? Personally, I want to know what you find important to include in a vending contract. A couple things you want to. Let me pull up my vending contract and I will tell you what it says within reason.
I know what I would put in it. Now, personally, I don't think Grayson would agree.
What are you putting in it?
But like 10% revenue or
shut up. Shut up. We don't have to put that on this YouTube channel.
Let's go down. Let's give them that story, shall we? That's one of my favorites.
We'll do this after I answer the questions. As I said, I paid a lot of super tax because I'm a dummy, but it is what will make me a billionaire. I'm mostly convinced of it. But I will say for my revenue share contract, I'm not going to share the screen just because this is an actual contract I've used with an actual business, and I don't want to like put them on blast here. But I would put, and most of this stuff, by the way, you can just put into ChatGPT, like most of it. We have a lawyer, and we've used them for some things, and we will continue to use them for some things, because for me, the peace of mind of actually paying a legal expert will always feel better than putting it in AI. Until AI gets to a certain point, where I'm like, I've built that trust with it, if that makes sense, and it like takes over the world. But yeah, so date, who you're agreeing to, blah 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 blah, and then what you're offering, what your actual service is. And so for us, we do a revenue share percent. I'm just kidding. We do a profit share percent. Zayden didn't like that joke. We do a
No, I didn't.
profit
That's why I
share
didn't say
percent, meaning typically 5 to 10% of profit, net profit after expenses, we give back to the business. There is big controversy. There's big
Sure.
controversy in the vending machine and micromarket world on if you should do a profit share. In little amounts, I'm fine with it. Good night. Have a great day. See you later, G. For me, I'm fine with it because I find that if it doesn't really impact their business, we'd have to make a lot of profit for 5 to 10% to impact their business in any significant way. You know, like each location, as I said, our record was $1,069. So if that's the high end, you know, if profits half and then 10 or 5 to 10% of that, they're not making, you know, more than like the cost of lunch. Like it's not going to make or break their business. However, I do think it is it's a nice little extra thing to do to incentivize the business to both be honest on sales, encourage the owner to care a little bit, because if it I don't know how to word that. You know, like I've seen the commission go up and down, and I've also noticed that on months when it's really, really low, the following month is record-breaking numbers. I don't know if that's a correlation or a causation, but it is an interesting thing to note just as somebody who lives in the numbers. But yeah, we can get to the story here in a second, Zayden. I want to tell the story, but that's okay. Payment terms, how you're going to pay them that revenue or that profit share. An audit, the company or you can request to, or the company can request to audit your actual sales to prove that you're being honest, because it's kind of hard to fake credit card sales. I will say we fall in a weird thing of almost 100% of our total company revenue is credit card, meaning there's a history there, a digital history that we can't really manipulate beyond like, you know, we swipe our own cards. Like there's no other way to really manipulate it. And so, yeah, I would put when it should renew, how long it is, the location with the actual address. You will do all maintenance and repairs. What happens if the machine gets broken? Who's liable for that? Basic laws and a few other things. But realistically, you want a profit share outline. And also in that profit share outline, you also want them to agree that you are allowed to put the machine there, to plug it in. They will not bill you for the electric bill. That's like 50 cents a month. And that they understand that there is an expectation that your machine, you will not be stolen from, you will not be all that, and that you have the right to go after anyone that does that. Things like that are important to put in here. I will say, as you build a relationship up with some of these businesses, some things might require nuance. But I think this, if you set off agreements like this with the most, like, as professional as you possibly can, if you go into it saying, you know, everything I've said up until here, take that with a grain of salt. This is what is actually happening. This is the business. But if you set it up as, you know, hey, I got this legal document. It's just, you know, it's the thing we got to do. It's just part of the business. Not a huge deal. If you just can look that over, and if you agree to it, sign it, send it back to me. If you got any questions, I'm absolutely happy to answer it. And I've noticed that every time I've made a big deal out of signing a legal document, they get, you know, they'll nitpick it. But anytime I'm like, it's not a big deal. It's just standard procedure. It's just normal. It's just expected in this business. It's what everyone does. They just sign it. They might have a question or two, but they just sign it. There's no back and forth. There's no having to explain what everything means. There's no, like, can I get 2% more on the profit? Like, no, they just sign it. And that's not calling them stupid. That's just part of the business, is the fact that if it's not a big deal to you, psychologically it'll be not as big of a deal to them. And at the end of the day, this is just legal protection. This is just business at the end of the day. And I've never had to actually enforce one of these contracts yet. We're not at that stage yet, but I've gotten it reviewed. You know, like, we want to make sure these are as official but also to the point as possible. And so the story Zayden is referring to is, okay, shut up, Zayden. I hate you.
Great story. Great story.
So
Love it.
early on, before Zayden, back, we call it the dark ages of Avoda.
Yeah. This is
Before we made
me,
money
the
this
life.
year. Yeah. Yeah. Before we started, what did Zimri just text me? Do you think having your face on the front of videos helps? I hate that guy.
Dang.
Um,
I hope in the future we've killed him.
dude, you
Somebody
can't
clip
say that. This is the internet. If
And?
Zimri dies, do you know how terrible that's gonna sound,
Don't link me to it. It was definitely not me.
brother? Anyway, yeah. So very early on, and I will say, I am, like, besides YouTube and a couple books, I taught myself almost all of this. I didn't go to college. I didn't go to university. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have anybody. I have examples of bad bosses. I have a lot of examples of bad business owners, bad bosses, and bad practices I've seen both in car washes, in restaurants, and now micromarkets and vending machines. I've just seen bad business, and that's what I try to avoid. The problem is the nuance of business, the language. I'm really trying to hype up how stupid this was. The nuance of it sometimes got lost to me very early on. So this company is about 3 to 4 years. This will be our, what, third year, fourth year? Something?
Yes.
And you have to also consider my age. I'm 22, so 3 years ago I was 19. And I would have started this right at 19. I had just moved out. I had no idea what I was doing. And it's funny to look back upon now. I'm really glad we fixed it because I'm an idiot. And I just kind of laugh at it now. But very early on, I am pretty sure I heard on a YouTube video the debate, because it's normal in the vending world, of profit share. But I did not remember the word profit. So I wrote revenue. And instead of doing 5%, which would have been not much better, but a little, I put 10% revenue share. Meaning I buy a product for $2, I sell it for $3, immediately 30 cents is gone from my revenue. And if my profit was only going to be $1, like, I'm very simplifying it, but I was giving away almost all of my profit, like a very big percentage of profit, because I didn't put the nuance of the difference of the words. And so luckily I only had it on 2 locations, and we've obviously since then gone back and corrected it. And as I just said, in these contracts, if you don't make a big deal out of it, it's just not a big deal. And if they have questions, they can come to you. But human psychology, just say, hey, look, I made a mistake. Or just say, hey, look, there was a misprint, or there was a, like, however you want to own up to it. If you make a mistake like that, just move on from it. That was my idea. It's not Zayden's.
Yep.
I'm just kidding. It was all him. But yeah, so that was just, did I tell the story accurately enough, Zayden? Did I call myself stupid enough?
I think so.
Okay. I was stupid.
You want to say it one more time?
Directly into the mic.
soundboard?
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, to move on, that is what I would recommend you write in a vending contract. As I said, we now focus on micromarkets, so there's a little more nuance, because in vending machines, it's a little harder to steal. On ours, you can just open the door. So there is some nuance on, we have to have special clauses for theft and like damaging the machine and cell service and internet and all that kind of stuff. But I agree. Subscribe. G said, what up? If you had to change from vending machines, What would you choose? Vending machines or micromarkets? If I had to choose, I'd like car washes. It's a very similar model. Um, if the gym business wasn't so terrible, I always thought it'd be fun to be in the gym business. But as much as I love working with them, to actually own a gym and have it successful is one of the hardest businesses to run. Um, I'm trying to think. I just really like businesses that don't require employees because I work in an express car wash where we have some employees, and I'm just noticing finding good, dependable people in a business where there isn't as much money to play with because you're not directly impacting the revenue coming in. For example, laundromats. If it requires a whole team of people to run a laundromat, you need to figure out a way to get more revenue in there other than just location. And sadly, you can't do that, which is why you need a business where it doesn't require employees. And so I like businesses like that. Uh, Personally, when I get to that level, whether it's for the micromarket business or if we get into car washes, laundromats, there's other businesses in mind, but those are the top two. Um, I would probably want to get to the point where I can pay 1 to 2 people very, very well to manage the whole thing and to learn every aspect of it.
Oh, that was a lot of buttons. My bad.
You're good. Um,
I accidentally smashed my keyboard.
nice.
The soundboard went off.
Yeah, so I want to get to the point where I can pay, 1 to 2 people a very, very good income and like with bonuses on if they grow revenue and profit and if they do certain things, I want there to be that incentive. But I also want there to be, there's one key person and they kind of run their business. And if they grow it, they get a piece of it. And we can kind of grow these businesses together. But at the end of the day, I'm the one that built it. Like I started it, they're the one that's going to grow it. And so they get some of that action, if that makes sense. But I don't understand. Like I don't want to be in a business where I'm paying one manager to manage a team of 6 people, and only one of those 6 people actually does all the work. To me, that just never made sense. So overpay your people, really take care of them, really get to the point where you're building a business and you have a shared mission in that business. And so if I had to change from vending machines and micromarkets, I'd probably go to car wash. The message of car wash is so simple. And if you do self-serve car washes, the things you need to accomplish are so boiled down, kids could understand it. Scrub car, clean floor, get sale. Like it's
Other way around.
did I get sale, scrub car, clean floor?
Nope.
What? That was it. Wait, no. What? Get sale, scrub car, clean floor. That's literally it in order for the customer.
For the customer, maybe.
Anyway,
But for the trainee, it's about the heart of the car wash.
you're right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Knowing her inside and out.
Zayden. Anyway,
Understanding how all the different moving pieces work, and
yeah, and making sure
I think you're just taking the easy way out. That's it.
operation time, making sure every lane is open, making sure the vacuums are working, making sure the customers have the proper set. Like it's just simple. Clean car. That's it. You go to a car wash because you want a clean car, whether it's vacuuming or the outside. Like you want to make sure your car is clean. And so I would want to switch to something where I can overpay somebody to run that. If it's a self-serve car wash, I could pay somebody $250,000 a year to grow the business and know every aspect of it, know how the equipment works, knows how the chemical works, knows how the applicators work, knows how the vacuums work, knows how, like keeps the site clean, knows how customer memberships work, and they can just handle it. And it's an automatic, so they don't have to guide the car in, they don't have to do anything, fill out any damages. Like they just grow the business from an advertising perspective. And maybe if they outsource, things, they manage that by, like somebody does the lawn care, you outsource that and they make sure that it gets done correctly. But yeah, if I want to, like, if I was going to switch, that would be something I would focus on. Let's see. Yeah, so that was all the questions. So yeah, we'll continue with the stream. And then yeah, if y'all have any questions or anything, just drop it in the chat. But what else we got? So how we manage product tracking was the next thing that I wanted to talk about. And that's kind of where we're starting to, that'll be kind of what we're working on in today's kind of episode or stream is going to be going over kind of these spreadsheets, and I kind of get to show y'all the product list and everything that we actually get to use in our business, which I think is pretty cool. And I don't think many people do this when they're showing their business. Is they don't really show all the stuff that they actually sell. They just kind of talk about it vaguely. And so I think this is gonna be fun. Let me see here. So let me make sure. Is there any sensitive information? Hide. 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 Hide.
It's a lot of sensitive information.
Yeah,
man.
it is. Hide.
Sounds like you shouldn't be in that part of the business.
Hide.
Putting it on stream.
No, it's fine. It's fine. They can just. It's fine. It's fine. All right. 365. 365 girls
Oh my
want to
gosh,
drink
I've already
wine.
done that.
Okay. There we go.
Okay.
So yeah, this is the start. We're going to be working on this through today's stream, and I'll kind of explain what we're looking at. How do you handle theft? I definitely do not steal candy or anything. As she's eating a Snickers bar that she stole out of the inventory list. I'm just kidding. She didn't steal anything. So yeah, here we go. So to answer your question, how do we handle theft? No, I can't say that on YouTube. I'll get demonetized. Yeah. How do we handle theft? Prosecute? No, I'm just kidding. We don't prosecute. At least we haven't up until this point. Realistically, how we handle theft is we put our machines in locations where it's kind of hard to get in without us knowing who you are. And we have less than 0.5% of our total sales ever have gone missing, meaning they just walked out the door. And there is a level of, was that theft or was that they forgot to pay? Because at that location, and for the longest time, that was the only location where that could happen. It's they forgot to pay. So we've now taken it to the point where we want to adjust to that. Do not steal a Snickers bar. Zayden is going to hurt me. He will hunt me down.
I will. I will.
Yeah, it is something. It is something that we've had to. We've been in the behind the scenes, because that's a lot of the work that I do is behind the scenes. I couldn't tell you what I do and how I contribute to the business. Which, yeah, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so a lot of our stuff is we're at the point now where specifically with that location, part of it can be justified because they forgot to pay. Part of it is a technological issue that we won't be facing with this new machine. Because as long as we leave it in a certain route, like the way this new machine works, you tap your payment device, it puts a hold on the card, you then have access to the machine, you take the products you want, it as accurately as it can decides what you took, and then dings your card for that amount. And so it is a learning curve to that, but our last location does not have that feature. You open the door, you pick the product you want, and then you pay. And then on top of that, we have products that are just in a shelving unit. I will say, in order to be in that room, to even have the option to purchase anything, you need to be either invited by a member or you need to be a member of the gym. It is not open 24/7. There's cameras in the whole site. There's cameras on our machine. But I don't think we're utilizing them to the full ability. So it is something that we're having to go back and learn how to deal with. I know recently we've dealt with jerky, or one of our other products is called Holy Balls, which is like a protein bite thing. We've had to learn how to go back, and we're still working on a process to make sure that no one steals it without having to then, bring in the Gestapo and put everything in the machine behind lock and key, and you have to pay before you open it. And that'll be a big shift for our customers. And so it's not bad yet. You know what I mean? Like, nothing bad and crazy is happening. We're not losing hundreds of dollars a month on stolen merchandise. I think a lot of other micromarket creators that I've seen have definitely dealt with bigger issues than what we are. but it's still very important to us, as we'll see in this spreadsheet. It's very important to us that we sell every product we buy. And so I think that's something specifically Zayden likes working on more than I do, because he's just smarter at that kind of stuff than I am. Because I make things look pretty, he makes them look secure and make sure that no one can just walk out with our product and we don't know it.
I like putting lasers and guns on things. Don't
You
steal
can't say
from
that
me.
on YouTube.
Yes, I can. This is America.
But yeah, so for me at least, I'm focusing on the inventory tracking side. I want to be able to, in a year and a half ago, we didn't have an inventory. Like we just put the stuff in and hoped it worked. Like it was very bare bones. We would buy a 12-pack of protein shake, we'd put it in, and then we just assume we'd sell 12. It was so bad. And that was stupid tax and also a learning tax. We had to learn how to track inventory. We had to learn how to see what had sold. We had to learn how to run reports. We had to learn all these things. And so now we're at the point where we've gotten a lot of these things down that now we're able to go back and go, okay, we put 4 jerky in. We are out of jerky now, but we only have the revenue to reflect 3. So somebody probably stole or didn't pay. And then we get to figure out, is this happening across all of our products? Is it just the one? And so far, I could kind of
Somebody
one
taking
hand.
Snickers bars, that kind of thing.
Hey, we pay. I promise, we pay. Just don't look at the bank account.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've noticed that, yeah, specifically, there's probably, I could count on one hand the amount of products that have gone missing in since we've started tracking, and I've actually been paying attention for the past few months. I can count on one hand the products that have gone missing. And just based off of probability, because it's not the same products going missing every single time, and it's also not at a similar time, I don't think anyone's stealing. I just think we need to get better at this. So a few options we've thought of, and we'll probably figure this out as time goes on, and I can keep you all in the loop on the stream on ways we might be thinking about this. So if you're in a similar business, have you considered attaching turrets to the micromarket like a castle?
Sadly, we need a license for those. I've applied for
Well,
one, but
okay,
they haven't
hold
gotten
on.
back to me.
There is gun vending machines. This will get me banned on YouTube, but there is pew pew vending machines.
There you go. You already
Where you
said
can
it, so
buy-
we're already banned.
Well, if I say it
This is
less,
demonetized now.
maybe they will. I'm not monetized anyway. Oh,
Oh, this is perfect.
no. That was not an invitation to say things. We're going to go back to the spreadsheet now, which it took me an hour to get here, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and hop into this so we can get to work here. But yeah, I want to at least mention that theft, while is an issue we want to be conscious of and we want to have a solution for, it does take time to figure out, because the other, like,
Or a lot of ammo.
okay, I'm going to move on now. But I kind of want to explain what this is and what we're looking at. If you're a business owner also considering making something like this, I highly recommend it. And the more organized that I get, the just better the business seems to run. And again, I'm teaching myself all this, so I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm just figuring this out as I go. And there's a lot of Google and YouTube and ChatGPT and just talking to people and reading books and just trying to figure this stuff out. Speaking of, let me actually see if this product is for sale. Dang it, they still don't have it in stock, and they're out of tropical. That's so dumb. How do you not have any of your freaking stuff, man? How are you a company that sells 7 flavors and you only have 3 for sale? I hate you. Anyway,
They're a good company.
no, it's not. It's Fuel for Fire. I hate them.
What
So
do you mean?
I wanna
They're
explain-
making your bag, man.
I want to explain what we're looking at here, real quick. Yeah, there we go. So right here, our reoccurring expenses is up here. So it's going to be Amazon Prime, Google, Sam's, Verizon Fee, VMS, and then NA. NA is just, we're waiting to figure out what one of our monthly costs are going to be. But yearly, we're spending $869 to run the business. And then monthly, that comes out to $72.47. Again, that's going to go up now that we're adding a second machine. But these are just so far, as we've been getting organized on all this, the costs we have found in our business. Some things to consider. We might be getting rid of Amazon Prime because if we get rid of the snack machine, we don't buy anything on Amazon besides stuff to put in one single snack machine, which at this point is losing us money. So we're cutting out the fluff, the extra stuff, the things that could maybe one day have been profitable, but we want to get focused. We want to get dialed in. Gyms. We are a gym solution company. And if we get very niche, we get very good at that niche, and then we move back out, I think that's where the money is made. That is what basically, out of all of my Teach Me How to Run a Business videos, which, by the way, check out that playlist if you're watching this. If you're watching this as a VOD, go find it. I've probably made more content, but it's very important to look at other people, see what's working for them, and then see how you can apply it to your business. And for me, what I've noticed is getting very focused on the niche that you want to be in, getting very, very good at it to where you build a reputation and a skill set to serve that market. And then as you move out, you end up building something where I just know, like, we walked into this, and while we're learning ourselves on the machine that we're working with and the systems that we're using, I know going into it a starting place, a jumping off point on what products are going to sell or the type of products those athletes are looking for. They're looking for energy, they're looking for hydration, and they're looking for protein. That's the three top things I've noticed in CrossFit is those are the type of things athletes look for. And instead of trying to reinvent the wheel by, putting a location in a gym and then another location in an office building who might not be looking for energy, hydration, or protein, I now have to find a whole new set of products to serve a whole different community that I don't know and I have to relearn. Or I could just go find more of the clients I already know how to serve well. And so that's just a little a little anecdote. But for us, we've noticed we don't really use Amazon very much for the gyms. So I like it because, as I said, I don't spend money on subscriptions on my personal side besides Adobe. So I don't really feel the need to have Amazon for the business, but I might just keep it because there is some, if we need drink shelves or if we need office supplies, or for me personally, I like buying random stuff on Amazon. It might just be nice to run it through the business instead of our thing, as to just be a short-term perk of having our own business. And we can, it's a business expense. Google Workspace, that's where we get our email. That's how we get our cool email handles. That's how we're organized. It gives us other things, but for the most part, I really like the email feature. The fact that it can be my name at a specific handle. Sam's Club, we pay yearly, but if you broke it down by month, it'd be $4.17. Yearly is $50. Monthly Verizon Pico Cell fee, we pay a phone bill for one of the machines, so it's $35. And then VMS is $6. That's for the vending machine. We will be getting rid of that, but that's it there. And then NA is just going to be that next cost for this new machine. And then we come down, and this is what I'm saying. I think everyone, if you're in a business where you sell a product or like us, a group of products, I love building things like this. And so I highly recommend, you don't need to find a template. You don't need to find this. I think actually you learn your business better if you build it from scratch like this. And so we have all of our products listed out in any capacity in which we could buy them. And then we have costs. So we'll take this, for example. Element is our best selling product by far. It's insane. We've sold, I want to say we've hit 1,000 cans. Let me see if that's true. I'm curious because
I think we may just be scraping it. I don't know if we had a.
Let me run the report off stream real quick. I'm very curious
because I don't think we've purchased 1,000 cans.
I think we have. I genuinely think we have at this point. Reports, product sales, custom range. That run report. That might take a minute. But I have you considered a test? Oh wait, no, you already said that. My bad. Lauren's not talking. It's the ad. But Okay, so we sold. I can't show this on stream just because it has sensitive company information. But I can add this together. No, that's not right. There we go. Okay, so that's not right. Hold on. January. Cannot exceed 2 years. Oh, interesting. What's today? Okay, so we'll say I misclicked. So, all right, so we can only look at the last year on this.
Okay, it's done. It's done. The sizes
The
aren't
Stockwell.
correct, but it's done. Yeah. That's fine. The sizes don't have to be right.
Can you can adjust
I'm
it?
making them right. I'm making
Yeah.
them right.
Okay. Yeah. If you just go to
They don't
height.
have to be right, but I'm making them right. I understand how dimensions work.
Thank you, Zayden. What do we say,
Who
chat?
hired you?
Thank
Who
you,
hired
Zayden. He
Wasn't
hates me
me.
and wants me
Okay.
dead. Okay, it's running the report. It's probably going to take a lot longer. So I will go back to talking about
I don't even think
this.
that's the right height. It just looks prettier.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
also doesn't want to make it
So while that report's running, we can do the math here in a minute on what we've sold in last year. I think it's really close to 1,000 cans though, but which we should have a party and put it on the business card, and spend business
No.
money. I'm kidding.
No.
But as I said, our best product is Element Sparkling, Element is a hydration beverage. Specifically, it has a lot of salt and sodium in it, and so our clients just love it. Like they just love that drink. And personally, I like it. It's pretty good. I like the watermelon flavor the best. But there's some information that's very important to me as the finance bro in the company. So, Element Sparkling, name of the product that we're buying. Cost per unit 2, items per order 36. That means in order to order the minimum to get the product to my door at that cost per unit, I need to buy at least 36. Hold on. The report finished. This is important. This is top tier information. Hold on. Let me see.
Okay,
All right.
it's better now. I mean, it's uglier now, but they're all taller.
Do you have your calc ready? Dude, it's close.
I'm gonna ignore that you called it that.
It's a calc, chat. That's short for calculator. Okay. So, black cherry
All I know
lime.
is
How
that
many
I'm
do you
right.
think we sold
Uh,
in 1 year?
this year?
In the past
Or
365
last year?
days.
Oh,
Both.
okay. From today. I'm gonna guess. Let's do 200. That might be a little low, but
Hold on. Let me get the final number. Oh, crap. There we go. Okay, so I have the final number. All right, let me scroll back down. Okay, so Element Black Cherry Lime. We sold. Let me see this. Black Cherry Lime, we sold 130.
okay. I have too much faith in us.
All right, Element Citrus. How many did we sold? How many
That's
did
gotta
we
be high. I'm gonna say like 270, 300. Could be
238.
higher than that. Yeah, that's what I thought.
All right. And then Element Grapefruit.
I'm gonna keep it around the 200 range.
186. And then
186.
Element Watermelon. That's the last one.
I think that one's possibly that's either our second worst selling one or our worst selling one. So I'm gonna guess like 100.
Funny enough, Black Cherry Lime was the worst at 130. We sold 184
thought.
watermelon.
84.
So
Wow, that's
184. Yeah, so total we sold 738 cans in 1 year.
Yeah.
So we are having a party. When we
No.
get to 1,000 cans, I will be putting Pizza Hut on the business card.
No, you won't.
No, it's okay. It's okay. The finance
No,
manager
it's
approved
not.
it.
Yeah. We
But
gotta
so
fire
yeah.
that guy.
But yeah, so cost per order. So as I said, you have the cost per unit. I have to buy at least 36. So that brings $72 to cost per order. Tax, shipping cost. Element is very kind and does not charge us shipping on a minimum basis. I'm sure if we ordered enough, they would probably start charging us something. I've just never reached that limit. So minimum total, I have this calc here that figures out, it adds all these numbers together. And so the minimum I can spend with Element in order to get a package of cans here is $77.94. Now this is important, and I want to explain why. That number, the minimum total that I spend, is actually what I need to divide the amount of cans I get by. Because I can say that the cans cost $2 and I got 36, so my cost is 72. But my cost is actually closer to 78, which is not a huge difference until I bring you to my latest discovery in business, Jocko Molk. Jocko, my friend, I think someone in my family knows you. If you ever see this, you need to stop charging so much for your Jocko Molk on a wholesale side. It's ridiculous. Please also, by the way, find free shipping. I don't know how well this clip will age, but please, for the love of everything, lower your tax rate and find free shipping. I don't know where you're at that you need to charge 12.63 tax, but just leave there immediately. I don't know if it's California or another crazy tax rate state, but please, for the love of everything, charge less in shipping. But yeah, so Jocko Molk, for example, cost per unit is $2.54. In order to get the Jocko Molk protein shakes, it comes with 12 of them, so cost per order, we have to spend $30.48. After tax and shipping, though, you'll see our minimum total goes from $30.48 to $46.28. That's the minimum we can spend in order to get it here. So then our price to consumer it still is, so we have to adjust it, was $4, which means a minimum to sell, by the way, just means how many of these products do you have to sell before you break even. So, or to break even, I should say. So like Element, for example, the sparkling, we get 36 cans in an order. When we sell 20.78, so 21 cans, we are now in the profit range, and we've paid off what we spent. In order to cover the 46.28 for a pack of 12 bottles, we need to sell 11.57 bottles. So we're making money, kinda. We make $1.72. So maximum revenue I have in this category to say if you multiply price to customer by the amount of items you're getting, you then get your maximum revenue. And then our maximum profit is those minus each other. So we make $1.72. And that is before, as I mentioned earlier, we have commission. So we give 10%, 5 to 10% typically of profit to our clients. So we break even at best, but realistically we're losing a little money right now. So then me and Zayden go in a very, very official business meeting called calling each other. And I say,
Yep.
do you want to get rid of this product? And he goes, I knew this all along. You're stupid. And I go, you're right. But now that
Something
I've
along the lines
discovered
of
it,
that, because I did.
now I discovered it, that means I have to do something about it. And
So true.
because it was my idea, I'm going to work on it. And then we figure
I
it
love
out.
that about you.
And that's kind of the back and forth that we do. But specifically for Jocko Molk, we're going to be changing this. Jocko Go is a little bit better, as you can see. At a 12, we need to sell 9.3 to make $10. Things like this, we need to solve. We just need to solve it. And so we're going to go through here for the last little bit of this stream. We're going to go through and we're going to just find products that we purchase. And we're going to talk about how I figure out the cost of them and selling them and stuff like that. So let me see here. For example, we're going to go, let me see what else I got. We're going to do Holy Balls, one of our favorite products. Personally, I am a fan of the OGs. I also like the Mac Daddy personally. I think the Mac Daddy is awesome. But we're going to go here and we're going to look real quick if we look at this as a product. Oh my gosh, they added a new one. The Rocky Roadie. Decadent chocolate, crunchy almonds, creamy white chips, and chocolate chunks. Your favorite ice cream flavor just got a whole lot healthier. Holy Balls just added the Rocky Roadie.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, we gotta get
I actually
this.
knew about that the whole time. I can't believe you're figuring
Shut
that out
up.
right
It
now.
just came out. Anyway, so we're gonna do the thing where if you're looking at this product, well, this any of the Holy Balls product, you'll see $4.20 is what we pay in the MSRP for $6.99. So we'll go in and we'll put cost per unit is $4.20. And by the way, guys, I might make a little spreadsheet tutorial, but here at least I just select all of them. I go to format, number, and I do currency. And that way I don't have to focus on which number I'm typing and adding dollar signs and all. It just automatically calculates it. But so in order to purchase it, add to cart, and I'll just test this. Add to cart. You'll notice I need to add more. Hold on. I can't check out. I have to add at least 2 orders, which means I have to buy at least 24 in order to purchase this. So cost per order would then be, let's say I add, let's say we get another thing of breakfast balls as well. So cost per order is now going to be $180. So 180. That's a lot, but we're also getting 24 packages of these, which at a tax of, let me see. Let me put this over here so it doesn't like dox my card information. There is 0% tax on this. And then shipping cost is currently 0 as well. And then price to consumer is $7. So here we go. Here's some cool math. So in order to, because it's $7, if you multiply 7 by 14.4, so if we round up, because you can't sell 0.4 of a product, 15, you'll get over $100. So we will make on this order of Holy Balls, assuming that we sell out on this product, we should make a profit of $62 or $67.20, which doesn't sound like a lot until you stack it up against all of these products, and we don't typically take out product due to expiring, and typically everything will sell at some point or another. Very rarely do we take product out, and when we do, we're going to have a section in this spreadsheet where we're going to make a note of that, and we're going to actually talk through that of the products that we put to the side, because not everything can sell. You want that to be your goal, and you want to take out products that don't sell very, very, like you want to give it some time to sell. Typically, that's a 3-month period for us. If after 3 months we haven't sold at least 10%, I just want to get that product out of there, and I want to get something new or another flavor or version of an already successful product in there. So Holy Balls is a good example. We've never had the breakfast ball, and we've never had the Rocky Roadie. So later tonight, I'm probably going to place an order for that to get those products here. And now I have this information of Holy Balls cost per unit is $4.20, items to order is 24, so I have to spend at least 100, but assuming all of them sell, we'll make $67.20. And this was another thing that I think I pointed out earlier in the stream, is that we have now 2 micromarkets, which means we're not only just selling, if I buy a product, Holy Balls, for example, if I buy a 24 pack of it and I put 6, of each flavor, we're buying 2 flavors, so we'll put 12 here and 12 there. If we end up doing that, we're actually doubling down on, we bought the same amount of product, we're putting in the machine, but now it has 2 places it could be selling at the same time. And we don't have to pay an employee for that. We don't have to pay anybody for that. It's just now we have double the opportunity. And the more machines that we get, the more product we're hopefully going to move through. Or if we're buying the same amount of product, it's going to get through it a little bit faster. And so we're going to see that's where our revenue is going to go up, and as well, that's where our profit's going to go up, because we're going to be moving through that product a lot better. And the more product you buy, typically the cheaper it gets. So let's continue. Holy Balls, that was a quick one, something easy I could do. But that one's pretty simple as well with the zeros, but we'll probably get more complicated as I build out more of this list. But let me see here. What other products do we have? Let me go into ADM. Products. Let's do Alani. So some of these products that we purchase, we are buying from Sam's Club. And I don't necessarily love purchasing things from Sam's just because, like, I much rather, when building this business, I would much rather develop that relationship with the brand. Typically, you can get better deals. You can transfer those licenses. And Sam's, you just get a membership and you can do it yourself. But Element, you have to be a wholesale partner if you want that price. They're not in Sam's or anything like that. So there is a level of it gives us an edge, of you can't just have two 20-year-olds that don't know what they're doing. They can't just walk in and get Element from Sam's and figure out to sell it. That is it adds a few barriers to entry that gives us an edge over our competitor because it is a product that we know our clients like and our athletes like, but we don't have to, we've already done the work of getting our tax information together, submitting it to them, submitting a wholesale request, getting approved, getting our information set up, doing the minimum orders to get processed. There's a lot more barriers to entry. It took us 6 months to develop this entire setup where it's going to take somebody who's just new to the industry a debit card in 20 minutes to walk into Sam's. So let me type in Alani. So let's see. Cost per unit is going to be 11 cents. Nope, that's not right. Cost per unit is going to be $25.58 divided by 18. So cost per unit is going to be 1.25, and then we get 18 per order. Cost per order is going to be $22.58. Tax is going to be, let me see if I can do this on my phone, because then it'll load, I'm assuming. Zayden, are you having fun?
Yes.
You enjoying business?
Always
This is
do.
It is pretty fun. Okay, so let's see. If I go on my phone and I go to Alani, and I just put it into the shopping cart. And by the way, guys, I don't have to do this for every single flavor. That was one thing where there's going to be nuance to this. On our product side, I have the individual flavors, but on the list of the cost side, I'm just trying to get an idea of profit and that kind of stuff. I want to know if I buy Alani, it's going to cost me, it looks like $8 in shipping. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. And then estimated sales cost or estimated tax. Is 2.39. So if I go over here, and then by the way, guys, I have a very scientific way of determining sales tax. Shipping. I put it in ChatGPT. $8. Tax 2.39. What is my tax rate? 10.58% for some reason. There we go. 10.58%. And then price to consumer. So it is going to be $3. Wonderful. So out of 18 Alani, we need to sell 11 before we start making a profit. And now that we're laying a lot of these numbers out, we're probably going to go back either off camera. I'm going to get some diamonds. No, off camera, I'm either going to go back and adjust this, or I might do it on camera, or at least I'll be doing it like on the other screen, and I'll be talking about it as I do it. But we're going to go through as well. So that's Alani. Now we're going to do Fairlife, Core Power. Or no, I guess I should just do Fairlife. Fairlife is... Let's see. I guess another product I could do as well is adrenaline jerky. I think I spelled adrenaline correctly. This is where we determine. So hold on, wait. Let me go ahead and just set that center. There we go. So a company that we partner with is called Adrenaline Jerky. Definitely check them out. If this is a like VOD and you're watching this like months later, check them out. I'm not a jerky person. I like the maple one and things like that because it's more bacon and stuff. But I would definitely check them out. But they're a local business in Lindale that we partnered with, and they're cool. It's a light kind of jerky, so it gives you energy so you can work out and do motorsports and stuff like that. But for us, there's no minimum order. So we are their first wholesale partner, which I don't know if that's public information. It's not public info, but I don't think they care. But we're their first, to our knowledge, wholesale partner. And so we kind of negotiated. As you can see, that's a pretty high price for jerky. So $7 is our cost per unit, and then we're selling it to customers at $10. You might feel like that's a stupid amount. I agree, because I would never pay $10 for it. But it's not about me. I would also never buy an energy drink because I'm sober. So it's not so much what I'm looking for, it's what our athletes and customers are looking for, and if we can provide the right product for what they're looking for. And it just happens, in order to make money off of Alani, we need to be at that proper rate. So shipping cost is going to be 0. Tax is going to be 0. Cost per order, I'm going to say we have a minimum of 5, just because there's really no reason to go get any less than 5, if that makes sense. If we run out of a flavor, I'm going to get 5 more. If we run out of a few, I'm going to go get 5 at least. So that's where I'm going to get the minimum. And then this is, hold on, wait. Do I have the right? Hold on. 7 times 5 is 35. So minimum total is 35. Price to customer is 10. So if we sell 3.5 units, we break even, and then at that 5, we'll make $50 in revenue. So profit is 15. So not too bad in terms of numbers. Obviously not going to be our highest product. By the way, over here I have other sections where I'm going to add, like, if it's actually a good product to have, if it's going to generate us a lot of money and stuff like that. But we'll see how all that, comes up. We'll see on how everything ends up being laid out. But for right now, let's continue. So Fairlife, I can go back and look at that. As far as I can see on the Fairlife, it is annoying, man. So you only get 10 per unit, or per cost. It's going to be $38.42. It's going to be a similar tax rate and a similar shipping cost, I'm sure. Price to consumer, y'all are going to love this because I hate it. The cost for a fuel for fire at our gym, Zayden, do you know it?
For
Fairlife Core Power?
consumer?
Yeah.
Oh, for Fairlife, don't we have that at $6?
Yes. Which is just so much money. And then cost per unit.
For one of those, yeah.
Cost per unit is 3.84.
to make it. And the other thing that comes down to cost is it's how much people are willing to pay for it. You're not.
We're
I mean,
greedy
like
capitalists.
you can get to a point where you're way overcharging someone for it, but like you said way earlier on in the stream, they are paying for the convenience of it.
Yeah.
Um,
And there's a
and
limit
they're
of.
willing to pay $6 for that
So
convenience.
yeah, that's the other
They
thing
can
is
go and get
our
a case from Sam's
clientele.
Club or wherever else, and they can pay for it and bring it themselves. But
Yeah.
they're okay with paying that. They've actually told me that they think it's a fair price because I've asked. I maybe it was probably a leading question, but still, you know, they don't see a problem with the price, and I
And
don't either because I make a decent amount of
the
profit and
other
I can
thing to
afford to put
note
it in there. So,
is if you are running a business like this and you have if you feel like you're overcharging the customer, you got to consider a few things. If the customer feels they're being taken advantage of, they will not purchase it because
exactly.
this is not a necessity. This is not you are now okay. There is an exception to that is if you have a monopoly or you have a monopoly in your area, for example, like I'm trying to think. If you are a distributor of a product, I'm trying to make this sound like we don't push illegal things. We're selling we're redistributing products, but for example,
YouTube, we
Element,
swear.
yeah, YouTube, I promise. Element, for example, you can't like for the longest time you couldn't buy it at Walmart. It just now hit Walmart, which is great because they're a fantastic product. But for the longest time, if you go to the Element website, we're the only distributor of Element on their website for like you couldn't buy it in our area. You had to directly order it. And if you directly order it from them, you're going to be spending more than $2 a can. Or sorry, you're going to be spending about $3.50 to $3.75 a can in order to get that from them. We spend less per unit, so we can recharge at a similar competitive rate to what you'd be paying if you bought it online. We just charge slightly more. I think it's $3.25 to $3.50 if you buy it online per can, but we charge $3.75 plus tax because you're paying for part of that convenience, that premium, for the fact that it was cold right there waiting for you. You didn't have to commit to buying 12 cans. It's right there ready for you if you want it right when you're done working out, and you can get rehydrated and it's done. For things like Fairlife, for me it took an adjustment because I would never spend, $6 plus tax. I would never spend that much on a protein shake naturally. I would get a protein shake at home, or I live in the numbers, so I would go to Sam's Club and I'd do it. But as Aiden said, he talked with the customers, and there's a convenience factor of it, and our numbers reflect they like it. They pay for it. We sell out of Fairlife consistently and quickly.
I would like to disclose here. I didn't walk up to the customer and go, "Hey, this is how much I pay for it, and this is how much you pay
Well,
for it. Do you
yeah.
think that's fair?" I didn't just, blatantly, but I was probably like, "Hey, what do you think about these products? Do you think they're priced reasonably? Could we, there was probably a few leading questions in there, like, could we approve in certain areas? Blah blah blah, X Y Z. Is
For the
there
longest time,
a
it
way
was our
that, or
highest
is there
priced
a product,
product. So getting that
you have to mix it
conversation
in
in,
there?" Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, now we have the beef jerky, which is $10, and people buy that just the
And we
same
also
amount that they
have,
would,
if you see, we also
pork
have
flour if we had the same
the boxes
amount.
of
So
Element, which is where you can buy the little individual packs, but in a box of 30, which we sell for $45 to the customer. And we sell about
yes, and
2 to 3 a
they buy those
month.
too.
Yeah. And so things like that, where it's, you could go online, you're spending the exact same amount. It's $45 a box online. We don't charge a convenience
Yeah,
fee for that. But that also means that when the customer is deciding, do I want a box of Element? Do I want to pay the shipping and wait for an Element? Or can I just go to the gym I'm already going to, see a box? And again, we've only sold about 3 or 4 of them so far because this is one of our newer additions. But I've had some of the guys walk up and say, we really like the mango chili. We just buy it from y'all. Like when we run out, there's 30 packs and you're only supposed to have about one a day. So he's bought it now 2 months in a row. He'll just buy it and he says he likes it. And so eventually here I'm going to buy a whole selection of all their flavors or a lot of their flavors. And that's how we're going to get set up on selling these boxes. But at the end of the day, yeah, if you're running your business and you don't know where to price it at, price it where you make a profit that is reasonable. And for example, as you can see on our spreadsheet, for Fairlife, we're spending $38.42 to get it here. Or sorry, we're spending that on just the product, and then after tax and shipping, we're spending $50 just to get it in the same room. Which I did not know that. I just put this in. And then we're selling it for $6, which means out of 10 bottles we make 60. So we're only netting $9.52, which means we're not making enough profit. Like, it's too low. There's too little per bottle, because that's less than $1 a bottle. What we're profiting is less than $1 a bottle. So what that means for us, we need to raise our price a little bit. And if our customers come back and they say that's too much, well, we have basically one of three options. Get rid of the product and offer something totally different, lower the cost, or raise the price, or a combination of those last two. Those are really your only options. You can't, there's no other way in business to do anything. You either get a different product, you lower the cost, you raise the price, or you do all that at the same time. That's really it. So with that, like, now that I know that about Fairlife, we're going to need to raise the price again. And if they go, nah, $6.50 is too high, we don't want to spend $6.50, well, then I have to beg the question, do I want to keep the product in there and lose and or break even, or do I want to take it out, or is there a way I can lower the cost? And I have to do that for every single product all across the company, which is why I also said we want to focus. We want to be a niche. We want to focus here. We want to go, okay, we have a list of about 15 to 20 products or product companies that we purchase from. We now know how profitable we are. How can we maximize this section of the business and then copy and paste it into similar aspects? Zayden, am I making sense? I think what I'm saying makes sense. Okay. So that was Fairlife. Let me continue on this product list. Let me see. What else do we got? Alani, Holy Balls, Fuel for Fire, Jerky, Jocko Go, Jocko Mulk, Element, Powerade. Cost per unit. All right, let's say $8. All right, so Powerade is going to be for a 24 pack, which is the minimum. Cost per order is going to be $14.98. And then cost per unit is going to be, let me pull up my calculator chat. That's calc. 14.98 divided by 24 is 62 cents. And then price to customer, I'm selling Powerade at $2, it appears. So cool, Zayden, here we go. So Powerade, 62 cents a bottle. We buy 24, so cost per order is $14.98 at a 10.58% tax, $8 shipping. Minimum total, we have to spend $24.56. Price to customer is $2, so out of 24 bottles, we need to sell 13. So maximum revenue we can make is $48. So on one case of Powerade, when we sell out, we will have profited $23.44, or roughly 50%.
Yep.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Yeah. So, and things like that. Super simple. Granted, I have a lot of this information at my fingertips. I have a lot of this where it's, I just already have some of this information. But we're trying to get an idea of these prices. Now, a good thing I've noticed out of all of this is we're not losing money before the commission. I can't count the commission yet because it's variable. And it has to take into account like all these reoccurring expenses and stuff. But we're not selling anything for less than what like we're not selling it and losing money. We're at least breaking even or like teetering on the edge, which means we can go back and we can turn it up or we can turn it down or we can tweak it. And another thing to note is a lot of these products, for example, like as I said, Fairlife sells out really fast. Element sells out really fast. But we also sell a lot more Element. We're selling like 5 to 10 cans a day at this point. It's been speeding up dramatically. As I said, in just the past year alone, we've sold 700 and whatever cans, which is, 2 to 3 cans a day on average. But we also aren't open on the weekends. We are open for one class on Saturdays, and we don't really make sales on Sundays. So when you break it down a little bit more than that, we're looking at closer to 4 to 5 cans a day. And so as opposed to maybe one Fairlife a day down here, which is still fast in the month, that's still some money coming in. And that's just more raising our revenue, not so much our profit. But now we can go back and we can tweak that. While we've kind of figured out the higher selling items, we figured out those first, and now we're going back and we're reverse engineering where else can we tweak to really turn up the heat and to build a better business effectively. So yeah, we're gonna go in and we're gonna add more products. I suppose I can leave it on that screen. So Powerade, we're there. In terms of other products that we got here on this list, Premier Protein, one of my favorite drinks. Is it EI protein? Protein? I before E except after C? Wait, Satan, how do you spell
I'm
protein?
dyslexic.
Oh, okay.
I'm dyslexic. It's
I IEN sounds wrong. Hold on.
What?
Spell protein.
TEIN.
Okay, so I had it right. I was losing it. I was going crazy,
And
chat.
I'm the dyslexic one.
Shut up. All right, so we'll copy that same tax rate, same shipping rate. It's going to be 26.64. Items sold. We get 15 in a pack. And then, as I said, 26.64 divided by 15 is 1.78. And then we sell it to the consumer at $3.50. So again, Premier Protein $1.78, 15 per pack. We need to sell 11 before we break even, which means we're only making $15.04 of profit after everything is said and done. I will say, Zayden, we may need to invest in the Sam's Club membership. That is a little more expensive per year, but we end up. Thank you, Lauren, for typing protein. In the Sam's Club, that I would have to look at the cost. I think it's $100 a year, but we get free shipping. And that would be free shipping on Alani, on Fairlife, on Powerade, on Premier Protein, and I'm sure more products as I go down this list. Prime is another one. And that's $8 per pack that we order, if that makes sense. So we'll add Prime here. Let's go through and we're almost done, I think, with the product selection. So Prime is one of those companies that it's kind of going bankrupt. Logan Paul, the baller that he is kind of going under. So what we've noticed is like their wholesale program is an entire mess. Their customer service is god awful, and then on top of that, like their Sam's Club options are atrocious. They have one Sam's Club option, and it's these mini bottles that is just like they had a good start. They had a lot of options at Sam's, and they lost it because it's such a trash it's just a trash organization. But it's $12.98 for 24 of these mini ones. Again, 10.58%. $8. We sell it to our customer at $1.50. Interesting. And so our cost is $12.98 divided by 24, which is 0.54 per bottle. So we need to sell 15 bottles before we make a profit, which that's not too bad given the affordability of the product. And so that's pretty much all the products we offer. I'm going back to make sure real quick. But yeah, can you think of any other products that I might have missing?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
All right, let me see here. So the rest is going to be vending machine stuff. But as I said, we're selling the vending machine, and I do not plan to restock it before I sell it, quite frankly. So I'm kind of just at the point, this is going to be the numbers that we're working with. And then now we get to go back, and me and Zayden are going to have this conversation. Are you cool if we have this live where we're talking about price, cost, and everything?
I don't care.
Just know if you say no,
I'm about to have to go to bed here in a second. So.
I'll get off the stream here in a minute. I just want to fix this real quick in terms of price cost for the product. So we'll go each row at a time. So Element, you have, let me see actually. I'm trying to, there we go. So Element, sparkling. Are you watching the stream? Can you see everything pretty good?
Sure.
Okay.
It's delayed on your stream, but yes.
Well, the numbers and everything aren't going to be, but so Element sparkling $2 per unit, 36 cans, $72 to order. Tax, shipping, minimum price to customers $3.75, which means we need to sell out of 36 cans 20.78, which I will say actually I do want to make a category real quick. Hold on. I want to make a category. Gross margin. And then we'll do equal sum. We'll do price. Price minus cost per unit. Divided by price. I think. And then format number percent. Interesting. Okay, wait. Gross margin, and then we'll do net margin. Is, how do I type this in? Equals sum of profit divided by revenue. I believe yes. And then format number percent. Oh, wait. Actually, I'm going to do sum of... This is a bunch of spreadsheet crap. So it's going to be revenue minus cost minus tax minus shipping divided by revenue. All right. There we go. Okay, so I'll zoom out a little bit so you can see more. Okay. There you go. You should be able to see all the numbers now. It might take a second to catch up. But element sparkling. So it's looking like some of these are very bad. So I'm going to say if it's less than 50% net margin, we need to look at raising it. And I'll go in and I'll add a command so all these get fixed. But element sparkling is net margin 46.61% or gross margin 46.67%. It's very close. So we're profiting. What is that? My 47 now. 46. I guess that's right. We're making about, out of all the revenue, we net about half of it. Does that make sense? Do you understand how I'm
Yes.
getting there out of all these numbers?
I do.
Okay. So do we want to consider raising the price of element? So I'm going to copy these numbers and I'm going to put them over here. So element sparkling, if we did $3.85, or let's say $4, that would put us at a 50% gross margin and almost a 50% net margin if we raised it to $4. Do you want to do that? Do you want to keep it to $3.75? And for anyone watching this either as a VOD or as just the live stream, because there's just so many people here, part of this is just literally just we are guessing. We're figuring out. We use the information that we're given, and we make as educated of a guess on what could work. And we try to, and after we change prices, we want to listen to what the customer says. If we're selling, 50 cans a week of element, we raise the price another 25 cents, and that drops down to 10 cans. We need to change it back because greed will net us less. But if we're selling 50 cans and we raise it by a quarter and now we're selling 45 cans, we're making more money and we're still selling the same amount, which means the customer is okay paying that, is willing to pay that, and we're netting the proper amount to continue to grow the business. So part of it is not greed. We don't want to just make it $10 a can because somebody will pay it. We want to make it a reasonable priced product, and we want to do that for all of our products so that we can have a reasonable amount of profit coming in to either pay ourselves, to grow the business, to pay off debt, to expand and reach more markets. That's just business. So, and Zane and I just kind of go back and forth. We sometimes meet in the middle. We sometimes will leave it as it is. We'll sometimes grow it. Some things are dire necessity. We either need to cut the product or we need to double down. But things like this is just kind of nitpicking. So element sparkling, do you want to keep it at $3.75? Do you want to go up to $4? Do you want to test it? Do you want to go somewhere in the middle? What are you thinking?
Well, we'd be upping it by 25 cents. That's quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, we've done that twice now. Or yeah, something like that. We've already done it. I know at least once because we were at $3.50 for a long time. But I know we raised the price another time as well. I mean, I would say as well, if we raise the costs or if we raise the price of a sparkling, it might drive more consumers to go to the electrolyte singles, which do have a higher margin. And then as well, boxes, they might go to that as well, which already has a 50% gross margin and net margin.
I think we may need to evaluate this further before we just go ahead and up it by 25 cents because we can't.
How about $375 a can? Because I missed the decimal.
Honestly, that's probably the better idea.
Yeah.
Because then with one transaction, it pays off some of our debt.
Exactly.
And somebody will mess up.
So we'll leave it as the $375 for now, and then as I said, maybe we go and we up it to $385. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're selling 700 cans a year or 1,000 cans a year, it does start to add up. But at the very least, anything above, I think 40, around the 40 to 50% range in terms of gross and net margin, I think is fantastic. That's where we need to be at. But so electrolyte singles, we buy them for 75 cents and we sell them for 2, which is putting us at a 62.5%. Honestly, I'm fine with where this is at. I would say if we wanted to consider going down to $1.50 a stick, we might see more sales in this area because it is very slow selling these. So we would only be losing. Oh crap! Never mind. It's a lot we'd be losing.
Yep.
It'd be going from 720 when we sell out to 540. Again, another thing to consider in business is we're not going to sell out for a while. Granted, the product doesn't expire, but
Which is why
could we
it's
be
good.
could we be moving more product
But,
in the
yeah.
same time frame? Does that make sense? So if we're
I think
selling,
we may need to take a step back and lay these all out, and then kind of, you know, price evaluate them now that we have multiple places that are going to be using the same product. Before this was just one, but now that we'll be ordering product for both, we
yeah,
want the prices to match, and then also we're getting a new demographic who may be willing or not willing to pay certain prices for things. And you don't want to sell one product cheaper at one spot than the other, or
well,
that kind of thing. You don't
it's
want
not
to.
so much that. I mean, yes. I mean, my opinion is it's not so much that we don't want to do that; it's that we can't really do that. Like we don't
Yes.
we're selling it at the same price regardless because that's what we have to be selling it at. And they're
Yeah.
the same exact demographic, but I get what you're saying. But so I guess we can skip the nitty gritty ones. Let's go to Mulk. What do you want to sell that at? Right now
Sadly,
it's
I'm
at
gonna
$4.
have to dip out because I
Oh,
gotta go
okay.
to bed. But
All right.
um,
Well,
this was fun. Thank you
oh,
for
okay.
having me.
Yeah, of course. All right. Later, bro.
All right, bye.
Well, if he's hopping off, I might be getting to the end of this VOD. But just to finish up the main points of this video and this VOD and this live stream. And by the way, if you made it this far, if you're rewatching it, if you made it this far, consider subscribing, liking. I would really appreciate it. I love making business content and stuff like this because I just think it's super fun to just like dive into the nitty gritty of business. And so I'll probably be doing more of these throughout the year. But to specifically, hone in on what we're talking about, this is a list of all the products company that we sell. So for example, Jocko, he's the company, but then we have the Jocko Mulk and the Jocko Go. We're not getting we're not diving into the nitty gritty of the flavors because it doesn't really matter flavor to flavor. They're all the same cost. But we're going in on the product itself that we're selling. So Fuel for Fire is a good example. They have got like 7 different flavors, but this is the same cost across all of the board. So what I'm focusing on now is Fuel for Fire. We're talking, what do we want to sell Fuel for Fire at to yield us what we need to grow the business? And so what I'm noticing as a business owner, as somebody who's a financial analyst in this way, is if I'm looking at Fuel for Fire, it costs $2 per unit. We get 48 units. That's $96 per order. With $10 shipping, that's $106 per order, which means from my bank account, $106 is leaving. And then we sell $3.50 per thing, which means out of 48, we need to sell 30.29. And maximum revenue is 168. Profit per that minimum order is going to be 62. And then these are our margins. I want to get that net margin over 40% because I need there to be enough margin for me to make this profit worthwhile. And so in this case, that literally is just raising it another quarter. That's all it is as a consumer, I think most consumers are not going to think twice. They're just going to see the 3 and they're going to be done with it. And of course, I will say as a financial person, I don't want to change any of this without really talking to Zayden before. Some things I do take the liberty to just do it and keep him in the loop and tell him, hey, I did change this. This is the price. But some things, like I said on the element, is a little more niche where I want him to be in the loop and I want him to to be part of it. As I said before, I have the majority share, so I can just do things. But there's also a level of respect in the business of I'm not going to just make these changes without him knowing about it. Because if I have the majority share, but the minority share is dragging along because they don't feel respected or listened to in the business, that's not good for either of us. And then vice versa, if I'm letting him make all the decisions, I'm not taking on the leadership role as the majority share. So it's a balancing act. It's communicating. I joked once that it's like being married, but it kind of is. It's really just focusing on growing this business together and running it like a business together and communicating on that. And so Fuel for Fire, as I said, 3.75. If we do $3.75, we're now over that 40% margin, and that should give us enough. We're making it goes from $74 down to $62 if we lower it. So we're making an extra $12 on that minimum order. So our revenue's going up, our profit's going up, and that's giving us another $12 in just this one minimum order. So if we're doing this for 5 different flavors, now we're getting $60 extra by just changing it by a quarter. We're making $60 just right there. And that's just one little change that the customer is going to adjust to and adjust to that cost. And then Jocko Molk, that's going to be, I'm just going to guess, say $5. Okay, so we're still not there on the Jocko Molk at $5 because we need to be at that 40%. $6. Now we're at that 40%. So now this is where we might consider, do we just get rid of Jocko Molk? Do we just get rid of it? And that's something Zane and I are going to have to talk about because that is just an unreasonable price given the fact that we are going to offer. I mean, granted, the Fairlife, we're going to have to put close to $8 in order to hit that 40% rule. So we're going to have to talk to Zayden about it off camera while I'm mining diamonds. I'm just kidding. But we're going to have to make some hard decisions here on, do we want to keep the products that are selling and maybe it's a loss leader, Maybe we keep it at the $6 where it's basically breaking even, but maybe that Fairlife is bringing you there to where you buy a Fairlife in an element. And that element is close to 50%. And so we're not losing money, but we're not gaining as much as we possibly could, but we're keeping you coming back and spending money with us. We can't do that for every product, and we shouldn't do that for every product, but it is a balancing act and learning it. And I will say we've been using AI tools and stuff like that to really help us in the sector, and I will probably be making a lot of videos on that. And just overall, I have a lot of ideas on how we can talk about this business more. But that's all I got for today. I really appreciate y'all tuning in and watching this. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any comments, questions, or anything, let me know as a VOD in the comments down below. And I will see y'all in the next one.